Mother stood in front of our house wringing a dish towel as if she'd been holding it when she heard and never let go. Father should have been at the post office, but he was there holding his arms open. I ran to him. He picked me up, held me, my head on his shoulder, like I was his little. Like I would always be his little. Neighbors stared in silence, lips pressed straight. Even Mrs. Heller had nothing to say. It wasn't every day that a girl of 12 was sent to war. Mother let Ty play in the kitchen with the real tea set, the one that had been Mother's mother's mother's, the one that would have been mine. You'll stay here with Ty, Mother told Cammy. But I want to hear. Cammy's voice and hands trembled. I hadn't been able to find her after school. She, like Megs, hadn't waited for me. Cammy had run home and sat in her bed, not even removing her coat until Mother did it for her. You can listen. We'll leave the door open, Mother said. She filled the teapot with water, and Father gave each of the girls half a slice of bread for making pretend cakes or biscuits. He caught my eye as he handed out these treats. They would have money for more now. Maybe they could even have real cakes and biscuits. I sat in a chair in the corner watching. I didn't belong to them anymore. Mother came and put her hand on my cheek. Come to the living room, love. I nodded and followed her as the doorbell rang. Father went to answer. Good evening, Mr. Joss. I presume you know why I've come. Yes, good evening. Come in. The worn wood floor creaked as she stepped inside. Can I take your coat? Father asked. Would you like some tea or water? No, thank you. The examiner came into the living room, still in her coat. She wouldn't be staying long then. Mrs. Joss? Mathilde? Mother rose. Welcome, please sit. The examiner took the free chair. My parents sat on either side of me on the sofa, Mother's hand on my knee, Father's on my shoulder. I thought about their gentle pressure until I realized the examiner had been talking and I wasn't listening. I'm pleased to inform you in person that Mathilde has been selected for service. It's quite an honor, and all of Sophorand is grateful to her and to you. Mathilde is not only the only pupil in her school, but the only pupil in the city of Lickelig, whom I have selected. Do you know why, Mathilde? No. No matter. To my parents, she said, she did very well on her aptitude test. Mother nodded. Father remained still. We did want this for her, Mother said. We wouldn't have signed her up otherwise. But I can't say it hasn't come as a bit of a shock to learn she'll be really going. The examiner nodded. You must have many questions. To discuss some practical matters first, you are to put Mathilde on the 2:13 p.m. train the day after tomorrow. Alone? Mother asked. Yes, the train crew will have been alerted to her presence. You needn't worry. Mother nodded, looking, if possible, somewhat more shocked. She will be considered military personnel, but we do not typically ask the children to be in uniform if they already have adequate clothing. She has her school clothes, Mother said. Those will do perfectly. Pack her clothing in a suitcase she can carry. We also encourage the children to bring a small memento from home, perhaps a family photograph or a stuffed toy. It helps them with their homesickness, especially as, she cleared her throat, they won't be allowed any communications in or out once they arrive. My parents stiffened. That's necessary? Father asked. Yes, for their safety and military secrecy. You will receive monthly notification of her continued wellness. No more Father and Mother. No more Cammy and Ty. No more Megs. While her whereabouts will be a secret, you can rest assured that no children will be sent to the front. I can promise her safety to that extent, but I cannot guarantee that we won't be bombed. Father nodded. The same as here. Precisely. When will she be allowed home? Mother asked. Because of the confidential nature of her work, that will be when we see fit to release her. Expect it to be after the end of the conflict. And we don't know when that will be, Mother said softly. Perhaps not until she's grown up, Father said, even more softly. But maybe this will give her that chance. The examiner nodded. I hope so. Our bomb shelter is under concrete and steel, which is more than we can say for those of most civilian homes, unfortunately. She handed my father an envelope. He opened it. It was stuffed full of paper bills, 400 orens. He looked at the money sadly. He had said that I was worth more to him than that. Inside the envelope is the address of the military office a few blocks from here, where you can go for your family's weekly pay. You will need to show identification. We've included a few other backup addresses in case something happens to that office. No one said anything about where to go if something happened to all the offices. Maybe they'd just be glad to think I had food and somewhere to sleep. Assuming those things were true. Is there anything else you'd like to know? What was there to ask? Location, secret, work, confidential. Mother took my hand and asked the examiner, will you be there with the children? When I'm not recruiting or on a mission, I'll be on site, yes. We have a large staff who helps look after them. I'll leave you to enjoy these last days together. I know this is difficult, but we all must do what we can in these times, and this is a great opportunity for Mathilde. It really is. You should be very proud of her achievement and how you've raised her. She probably hadn't expected a family numb with dread, but excited and relieved. Who could say which was the right way to feel? After Father had seen her out, he sat with me while Mother took my sisters up for their bath. Do you want anything? Father asked cautiously. Big? Megs, I said. It's late. After dark, the curfew, you can't go out. You can, I whispered through the lump in my throat. Father thought, then stood up. I'll be right back. He went upstairs and returned in his street patrol outfit. I ran and hugged him. Get your coat. He gave me his arm and we set out for Meg's house. When I knocked on the Swiller's door, her mother opened it. Mathilde! May Mathilde visit Meg's for an hour? Father asked. She nodded. I'll get Meg's. While I waited, Father walked home. Meg's appeared with crossed arms and a steely look. Hi, I said. Hello. We stood there. It wasn't my fault, I managed. She uncrossed her arms. I know. Come in. I followed her to the attic bedroom. She shut the door, and we sat on her bed. Then she hugged me for a long time. I let myself go limp and just be held. I'm sorry, I sighed. About what? That they picked me and not you. I tried to tell the examiner that it should have been you, or that they should also take you, and then I whispered, I never thought you wouldn't be going. It was dumb to sign up if you weren't willing to go alone. She let go and stepped over the tiny window above the desk. It's not that I'm not willing, I just didn't think it could happen that way. She didn't turn. I won't be allowed to write you. She remained still, staring out the window. You know, at night, when the sirens go off, if I take just a minute, I can see the aerials from here. Is that why you're always late? I just want to know what we're hiding from, she said, echoing my own words. Anything out there? Not yet. She headed back to me and sat down, but so we weren't touching. My fingers played with the fringe on her bedspread. Do you think they're going to make us fly aerials? I asked. That would be smart, wouldn't it? You'd need less fuel and you could go faster with a crew half the weight of grown men. Megs leaned back against the wall, as if we were just talking about homework. You answered the questions about the aerials, didn't you? I mean, you used details and numbered calculations. Of course, you must have, but I hadn't. Why would they have picked me over her? You really think they'll have us flying aerials? I don't know. Then what do you think they want children to do? Something only children can do. But I can't do anything. Megs moved closer to me again and looked me in the eyes when she said, maybe there's something only you can do.